In this video, we'll be hunting a box of nickels. We'll be looking for anything older than 1960, including silver war nickels, buffaloes, or anything older. We'll also be looking for any foreigns, proofs, heirs of varieties, or any other cool things we can find. We do have one ender in this box. Near the end is a 1947 right there. So hopefully that's a good sign, and I'll start the hunt, and I'll bring you in when we have our first find. Roll 1, and we're starting the box off with a pretty good find. It is just a 1959, minted in Denver, but it's in pretty good shape. Roll 5, and we have our second nickel from the 50s. And this one is 1956 from Denver. Roll 7, and we have 50s nickel number 3 of the hunt, and it is a 1953 from Denver. Roll 12, and I just uncovered this 1942, and 1942 was a transition year from normal nickels to silver nickels, and this one does have a silver look, so I'm hoping we have a 35% silver war nickel. And we do. We know by that S mint mark above the Monticello, so it's a 1942 S, 35% silver war nickel. That is an awesome find. Same roll as that war nickel, and we have a couple other finds from the 40s. 1941 out of Philly, and 1946 from Philly as well. Roll 14, another nickel from the 50s. This one is 1959 out of Philly. Roll 16, and we have the oldest nickel of the hunt so far, a 1940, minted in San Francisco. Roll 19, another 50s find. This one is a 1952 Philadelphia. Roll 20, and we have a couple more finds. First is a 1941 from Denver, and a 1955 that's also from Denver. Next roll, and we have another nickel from 1941, out of Philly this time. Roll 22 is going to add to the streak of finds with a 1940 out of Philly. Once again, next roll, and we have yet another find. This time, it's a 1957 from Denver. Roll 24, a couple more finds. First is just another 1959 from Denver. And then this 2005P Ocean and View nickel. I usually don't really look for this kind of stuff, but I did notice it, so I thought I'd just keep it anyway. We do have a bit of a die chip above that 1805 year right there. You can see that it's just raised metal with no really design features on it. It's a die chip, but they don't really have any value. That's why I don't usually look for them, but I did notice this one, so I'm just going to set it aside anyway, and it's a pretty cool find. Roll 25, halfway point of the box, and we've been on quite a streak of finds, and that's going to continue with a 1956 out of Philly in pretty good shape, and a 1957 from Denver. Roll 26, and the streak is going to continue with a 1940 from Philly and a 1955 from Denver. Roll 27, once again, the streak of older Jeffersons continues, this time with a 1953 from Denver. Roll 28, and I don't know what the record is for the most amount of rolls I've gone in a row with finds, but we might have beat it, not sure. But this time we have 1941 from Philly. Roll 29 broke our streak of older Jefferson finds, but roll number 30 had another find from the 50s, and this one is 1952 from Philly. Roll 31, a couple more finds. First is yet another 1941 Philly and another 1956 Denver. Next roll, roll 32, another 50s find. This one is 1958 Denver. Just opened roll 33, and we're going to have the first foreign of the box, and it looks like it's going to be a Canadian nickel, which it is, and it's from 1999. Roll 34, another find from the 50s. This one is another 1953 Denver. Just opened roll 35, and I see something I've never seen before. We have some sort of odd foreign or token right there. Let's see what it is. Hopefully it's something I can identify. It says Universal, looks like a token. Just says the same thing on both sides. Universal, Universal. Looks like there's even like a die crack on the right under the S right there that goes through the whole coin. I'll see if I can identify this. It's just some sort of token though, and that is a really cool, unique find. Same roll as that token, another 40s find, and it is a 1941 out of Philly. And I did a little bit of research on this token. The only thing I could find was this page with one for sale, and apparently it's a 1930s Minneapolis, Minnesota pinball token. So I guess we could call that the oldest find of the box because it's from the 30s, and that's pretty cool. A 1930s pinball token from Minneapolis. That is a super cool find. Roll 37, a couple more finds from the 40s. And these are a 1941 from Philly and a 1948 from Philly as well. Roll 39, a couple finds from the 50s. First, a 1954 from Denver and a really nice 1958 that's also from Denver. Roll 41, a couple finds from the late 50s, and they are 1958, 1959, both from Denver. Next roll, another 50s find. This one is 1954, minted in Denver. Roll 44 was that 1947 Ender, and it is minted in Philly. Roll 45, a couple more finds. First is a 1946 from Philly and a 1957 from Denver. Next roll, and we have yet another 1958 from Denver. Nickel box has been hunted, so let's go over the finds. We ended up with 9 S-mints, 1 foreign, a Canadian from 1999, then that miscellaneous die chip, you can see by that date 1805 at the bottom, there's a little die chip above it, not really worth anything, but still noticed it, so I pulled it aside. Older Jeffersons, we got a great amount from the 40s and from the 50s, including a couple nicer 1958 and 1959 Denvers. No better dates and nothing from the 30s, but still pretty good amount of older Jeffersons overall. And in my opinion, the coolest find of the hunt was that double-sided universal token. That is a 1930s pinball token from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Even though it has environmental damage on the side, it's probably only worth $1 or $2, but that's still a super cool find. Never would have guessed I would find that in a nickel box. And the best find of the box, 1942 San Francisco 35% silver war nickel. Overall, this was an awesome nickel box.